Hi, I'm Ray Price, a professor at the University of Illinois, and I want to talk for just a minute about the innovators that are able to go and create new categories of products. As we looked at those people, we looked at a lot of their characteristics. We examined the motivation, we examined personality characteristics, we examined some of the perspectives they have, and I'll touch on some of those areas in later discussions. But the attribute that I want to come back to that we think is the key to everything is curiosity. If you think about curiosity, there's a couple of dimensions to curiosity. The first one is breadth, and that is how wide and varied are our interests. If we look at our technical interests, are we confine ourselves to a very narrow technical area? As these innovators talked about things, they said, almost all of the interesting things happen at the boundaries where there's an interface between one technical area and another. So there's an implication there that you need to at least understand one area and how it interfaces, but you probably need to understand a couple of areas in order to be able to do that, to be able to tackle the really important problems that we'll be facing. You could look at the breadth of interest in your personal areas, in the hobbies that you have. Do you read widely? Are you curious about lots of things? One innovator that we talked with says they probably scan 20 books a month, read a couple of those in depth, and take one of those and master it. So if you think about what it takes and what kind of interest you have to scan widely, seeking about a lot of information and then able to bring that back. As we looked back at the understanding the problems or looking across multiple domains, you're not going to go find multiple domains unless you're curious about a lot of different topics and be able to bring those back. So that breadth of interest is one set of things. Then there's another one around a depth of interest. If you're interested in something, how deeply are you going to explore it? Now, some of the examples that we have came out of various hobbies that they had that were indicative of how they approached their technical areas as well. So let me just give you a couple of these examples of depth. If you're interested in flowers, do you plant 20 bulbs and wait and see how they come up, or do you plant 2,000 bulbs, or do you even go and start a nursery? One of our innovators actually went out and did this, started a nursery, and said that was probably one of the most powerful learning experiences that helped him advance in his career and be able to manage and lead a large innovative project. If you go out and shoot, if you're into guns or those kind of things, you go out and get pretty good at shooting where you can hit the target fairly accurately most of the time, or you do precision long-range shooting that might be the quality of things that you'd see in the Olympics. If you play poker, now I'm not encouraging any of our students to go out and play poker, but do you play a little, or do you read 20 books on the subject and play competitively? It's a very different level of depth that you would dive into. If you look at your school topics, do you read papers, do you pass the classes, or do you really understand and master the subject? If you're curious about things, you will have a breadth of interest and then you will have a depth of knowledge. So as we were talking about curiosity to one innovator, he came up with a classic quote here that says, "It's more than curiosity, it's a rage against ignorance." And that is, why don't we know more? And as individuals, we could ask ourselves, I ask myself that, why don't I know more about this particular topic? And do we have that passion and that curiosity to go broad and to go deep and then to rage against ignorance, both in ourselves and in what we know about the world around us?